Alright guys, so I bought another craft. This is punch needle. I've wanted to try punch needle for a while, but the kits usually don't come with the needle. They come with the fabric, they come with the floss or whatever, but they don't come with a needle. So this one does come with a needle. This came from Hobby Lobby. I know a lot of people don't like Hobby Lobby. Not a huge fan myself. But it was 50% off. So for $2.50, I get to try punch needle. Now this is not an amazing picture. It does look like it's on Ada, which I don't think is the correct fabric. And this is yarn, not floss. But it will at least give me an idea for a tiny amount of money of whether this is something I like or not. So let's get this open and we'll try and figure this out together. I'm hoping there's some sort of instructions in here. Well, there's instructions here for threading the needle. Here is the needle. And it says to take it, well, it is kind of loose. It says to take it out and fix it. So let's at least kind of, oh goodness. All right. So this is Ada, and it feels like rayon maybe, or polyester, I don't know. It's definitely not cotton. So let's try and get this a little more centered. That's pretty centered. That's a little too high. Let's move this down a little bit. Nope, that's too low. This picture barely fits inside this hoop, so like I said, this is a cheap little kit, so it's probably not going to turn out great. I did see a punch needle kit at Walmart that was on like a solid cotton fabric, and it had floss and it had a much smaller needle, and it was like $9. So I may try something like that instead. If I do figure out that this is something I kind of like, I may try one of those. Just because it comes with the needle, because the needles are, gosh, like $8 or $9 themselves. So now we've got it pretty tight in here. Let's see if we can get a couple more. All right. So that was number one. Number two, insert the looped. Let's get this out. There's two pieces. There's this plastic, this is a plastic kind of rubbery handle, and then looks almost like a needle you would use for basting your turkey. And then this piece of wire that has a loop on this end. It's got some tape on this end. We're just going to leave that there for now. So we're going to insert the looped end of the threader through the hollow point of the needle until it is visible above the handle, and then thread the yarn through the loop of the threader. Pull the threader back through, pulling the yarn with it. Then remove the yarn from the threader. The short end of the yarn should be at the point of the punch needle. And then, okay, so we're going to pull the thread through, and then after we've pulled it through the body, then we're going to pull it through the hole. So according to this picture here, looks like his nose is pink. So let's just start with the pink. We'll start from the center and work our way out. That way we can kind of fill in on the outside if we need. I'm assuming this is just one piece, but we'll see here. Okay, so yes, this is just one long piece. So we have his nose and his two cheeks are pink. So they're right next to each other, so it doesn't look like we'll have to cut anything. All right, so we're gonna pull this through. And then insert the loop through the needle from the outside in. So we're gonna go through this hole here. And then we're gonna put this back through here. Okay, leaving about a 1-inch tail. So, roughly 1 inch. Okay. So use the photo as the guide for color placement. Got it. Hold the threaded punch needle perpendicular, straight up and down, to the fabric. The angled side of the needle should face towards the stitch. Punch the needle straight into the fabric until the needle meets the handle. So I guess this is the handle way up here. Slowly pull the needle out of the fabric. Note, keeping the tip close to the fabric to prevent pulling the stitch out. Move the needle forward with the angle side still facing the direction of the stitch. Cut the yarn after the last stitch, leaving an extra inch. Okay. So, kind of scared to stab my finger. This isn't very sharp though. So we're gonna put the angled side up because that's where our, I guess we'll start down here. So we're gonna go all the way through. Good Lord. All right, so we're gonna go all the way through. And we'll pull this tail through. And we're gonna go up. And we'll go down. Okay, I can see why this is normally done on a tight weave fabric, because I think that would make it easier, because this fabric's kind of moving. Okay, so I don't think that's quite right. Now, I guess I am gonna have to cut it in order to move over to the cheeks, because there's really nowhere. Oh, yeah, that's, no, that looks crazy on the back and it looks terrible on the front. All right, so let's Go over here. I think this needle is just so big. I hope this is in frame. If any of you have done punch needle before, tell me, is the back supposed to be that poofy? That seems like a lot of wasted yarn. Look how big this thing is. This is how much yarn we have left. But we only have one more little cheek here, so. Takes a lot of force to get this through there. Okay. So I wouldn't say that's great. It kind of looks like the picture. Let's get rid of this. This is all that's left. Alright, so I'm going to work on this a little bit more, and then I'll come back and show y'all what it looks like. Alright, so here's the black finished. So it looks pretty terrible. That's supposed to be those are supposed to be mittens. Looks like coal. Here's the back. I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm thinking it's because it's cheap acrylic yarn, and this is like Ada, that's probably part of the problem. But look, but also this giant needle, like it is leaving giant holes. I had to redo this one because everything just popped right back out. I think it's probably also a tension thing. Like I probably have to get better at tension, which I don't think is going to happen with this kit, but we're gonna keep going on. I'll come back when I've done another color.
Right.
So now I did the face, and I just realized that I did the last two colors without putting the yarn through the hole, which is probably part of the problem. So I'm not pulling that out though. So we'll do the next color correctly, hopefully. Okay, so this is the correct way. So maybe our next stitches will be better. This thing is rubber, and all these little pieces of acrylic fluff are sticking to it. Ah! Alright, so I did these two little buttons here, and I will say they do look better when done correctly. But, yeah, this poor guy. He's definitely not going to be any beauty contest winner. Alright, so there's some white on the poof and on his little cuffs. So this is actually kind of starting to hurt my hand because these two things are not really compatible. So I'm just going to stop for now, and I'll work on it later, and then I will update when I finish it. But thanks for going on this really poorly done punch needle journey with me. See you guys next time.